Clap it out.
Hello.
Clap it out. Happy Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, and welcome to Live from Rabs from inside what we've now officially dubbed the Insane Asylum, Rabs Country Lanes.
It truly is an insane asylum today,
Yeah.
I have to say.
So I'm loving the comments. Our guest has brought all of his friends with him today, and we're glad that he's here with us, and of course his students. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Doing all this. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Before we went on, we were talking about what was on the dinner table last night,
Yes.
and Naz just showed me this. She didn't send it to me, but she showed me this awesome picture of her short ribs. And Naz, it's what I might want for dinner now. I took lamb chops out for dinner. Maybe I'll wait for
Yeah, they came out good. It's what in that particular meal, the prep is not so bad if you do it ahead of time, like all the chopping and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of throw everything together. But it takes a long time to cook, so that's not something I normally cook. So,
but it's something that's actually it's not hard.
No, it's not hard at all.
It could be an easy.
It's just lengthy.
Decent preparation. It's the length of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like set it, forget it, and low and slow.
Yep.
I do them in the pot. And they go on the stovetop. They go into the oven.
Got my nice little
Dutch oven,
and hook it up.
Liz had perfect timing today. So perfect timing that she was able to let Robin to exterminate the facilities.
I was wondering if this commotion was going
We got
on.
a big bug here too that we might need exterminated. And we have an audience. We have a little bit of an audience today. I mean, an audience of one at the moment. Live from Florida, John Wilder has made the trip up here and decided we were just sitting for a little while chatting, and he's hanging out to watch the show today.
Yes, he is.
So he's not at home watching, although he said hello to everybody while we're sitting here. So, hi, John. Welcome home. Nice to have you. Oh, you're right. This is your home. Well, it's nice to have you inside. Inside the infamous Rabs Country Lanes in the inner sanctum. Hey, a lot of news in the last couple of days. We talked a lot about it yesterday. Today, out of the state of Florida. I mean, everybody's out and about. They're open, ready to roll. Today at 4:30, we're sending men into space.
It's exciting.
Which is exciting. I mean, the first launch in 10 years, which has
been a long time.
Out of the Cape. So
I think they were a little worried that the weather was going to affect things. They had that storm that was brewing off the coast, but I think everything looks good.
Yeah, the storm brewed because John's here. Oh,
John, right.
I don't know what we just said, but apparently your wife says, "Really? Then stay there." Oh.
So yeah, so we got
So space launch today. Men into
launch.
space. The SpaceX. I think I have to say I think it's exciting. It's a sign of hope. I think it's for this new generation. I think it's awesome. And then Disney announced the starting of the phased
June,
reopening.
I believe, right?
July 11th for the Magic Kingdom.
July, yep.
July 15th for Animal Kingdom, but they're going to phase
it in
a little bit sooner than. I mean, they originally announced they were waiting till after the holidays to reopen. So here they are. They're
and it looks like they're going to temporarily curtail some of their more touch sensitive areas, like the meet and greets, and everything is reservation like ahead of time, and cashless tickets, and they were kind of ahead of the game anyway with that stuff. Mm-hmm. They had kind of already gone down that road. So I think it'll be a little bit of an easier transition for them. And obviously they're going to probably limit how many people are in the park. They're already really good at people tracking.
They really are.
So I think that, for them, I think this is going to be an easy thing. I think they just got to.
And hopefully it is. I did get an email from a company that sells inflatables. So at Christmas time, we had purchased these the inflatable snow globe. We took pictures when we did our tree lighting event. And so I get all their stuff all the time. And so now they're selling this inflatable walkway that sprays you enter a facility.
What?
Yeah. So instead of like being a security system, it sprays you. I don't know.
It sprays you with sanitizer?
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Oh,
It's
that's
absolutely bizarre.
that's
But again, this might be away for a little while. And I don't makes no sense. What do you put goggles on, like a spray tan, and you get sprayed?
That's a little disturbing.
It makes zero sense to me.
And Dan Moffat says that Vegas will be opening too. And yes, Mike Pellegrino mentioned that when he was here on Sunday.
And I think Vegas is in a whole other, and because the casino business is, you touch everything.
Yes.
They're probably a little bit more sensitive to what it's going to look like. I mean, we were talking about how we're seeing these photos of this plexiglass at a table, and the cards come through, and the cards themselves, are they going to pull them out soon?
Right.
There's a lot of things for them to consider. I mean, for the most part, a good casino is taking the time, but don't get me wrong, the slot machines could be the filthiest things.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, a lot of different people, a big, a lot of, like you said, a lot of touchy.
So we'll see. We'll see.
A lot of people are anxious to get back to their way of life.
Yeah.
And as soon as we can get, yeah.
We're all anxious.
I know some people who are enjoying this time. And, honestly, I saw something on TV this morning, and it was very enlightening, and it was talking about us being in this time that we're in. And for a lot of people, it's a very difficult time. But the rabbi who was speaking was talking about making this time not a waste. So I think his quote was, you don't want to go through hell and not come back with something from it.
No,
either to learn something or learn that, because there are so many people going 100 miles an hour through their life every day and filling every second with things. Right.
Things.
Either things or tasks or, just so busy that life is just flying past them. So I think his message was, to take this time to realize, there are things to spend time with your kids, enjoy that time that you have, whether it's with your family and take something from it. So
I really am getting a kick out of the kids here.
The kids, they are funny. It's hard.
You guys are providing some great entertainment for me. I mean, it's even more fun to hold off on bringing our guest in than to just bring him in.
I'm sure he's watching all this.
He's chomping at the bit. So, hey, before we bring in our guest, I do want to remind those that are watching, as a result of being here on the show and Nazareth's Crazy Ideas, we here at Rabs launched a talent search. So we're calling it Rabs Got Talent. And so visit bowlatrabs.com/talent. We want to showcase some talent. We've got a sizable prize, and their voting period will open after this weekend, which the deadline is the 31st.
Yep.
Submit a video, whatever your talent may be.
Yeah.
Showcase it. So
it could be something like making TikTok videos.
That's a talent in
I
itself.
spend a lot of time watching the TikTok. So there are some talented people on there, whether it's dancing or singing, or some people are very good at doing makeup. I've seen.
Oh,
it's pretty amazing. So whatever your talent is, come on, send us a video. We want to see it.
bowlatrabs.com/talent. Go and check it out. We want to showcase your talent and give away some prizes. And we've already got some great videos that have been submitted from our fans here at Rabs. So visit and check it out.
Yeah.
We have a sizable trophy.
Sizable trophy.
And
some nice prizes.
Hey, so our guest today, you know what? You guys are so excited for our guest.
They're rooting him in. Actually.
I almost feel like I can hear you guys like at your phones and whatever you're at your computers, because you're not in class right now. So I hope they're getting credit for being here.
Somebody's calling out Devante. He seems to be maybe some talent. So if he's got something, send it in.
And I like the fact that I think Mr. Ryan has nicknames, which I think this is fun. This is just fun sitting here. Hashtag Devante for talent. All right. So anyway, hey, without further ado, we're going to talk a little bit of education. Our friend Ryan Melis, he's the principal at New Ventures Charter School. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, hi Frank. How we doing, guys?
Doing
Hi, how are you?
Right. Well, welcome to Live from Rabs, and welcome to the party.
I am cracking up. I see all the student comments. I'm listening to you. I'm seeing the students back and forth. They're actually in their virtual classrooms right now, but I told them to tune in. They will be getting credit, so I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody. They're going to be tuning in, in and out.
So you wanted to make sure that they were here watching, or they were at least paying attention to the message that you sent that they should be in class of some sort. So, or you or you just didn't want to be subject to having no viewers here. Is that what you?
Yeah, I paid them off a little bit. So.
Well, they seem to love you, and this is part of the. We got to meet several months back, and I could see the passion that you have for your work, and seeing the kids act the way that they act and they're excited for you. That says so much about what you guys do at New Ventures, and also, of course, your leadership. So kudos to you. And the fact that they're home and learning in a different environment certainly is very different for them and for you and your staff, right? So one, I want to ask, how are you holding up during this, you and your family?
Yeah, it's been a challenge for sure. It has been a huge change. I do have to give all the credit to the families at home, the parents who are raising children, homeschooling them, working jobs, and they're really the do-it-all family. So it's I have to give them a shout out. For me, I have a son that just turned 1. I have a wife at home that's been amazing with my son while also working a job while I'm working, almost 10, 11 hours a day. So it's definitely been a struggle. As you can see, my new office now without being in our building, that's been a change. But our students, I really have to say, are complete rock stars. I mean, they took this change seamlessly. They're in their online classes. They're completing their work. They're going to school. They're earning their high school diploma in unprecedented times. I have to give them all the credit in the world. Just seeing them do that is the most rewarding feeling that a principal or anybody in education can ever have.
So do you think that maybe your students might have had an upper hand transitioning through this because they're used to maybe not being in the typical classroom?
That's a good question. I think with our students and our model being in field works, throughout the day, and internships on Friday, it's definitely an atypical schedule. I think anybody would have some difficulty with some change.
Yeah.
And this change being so drastic and just not having answers. If we told them back in March that don't worry about this, let's do a few months, we'll be back in June or July, I think it would have been a little more, an easy settlement to say, great, this will be a few months, we'll be back, let me just get through these few months. But to not have answers, to say we don't know when we're going back, is not only an uneasy feeling for anybody, but imagine for a 16, 17-year-old going through all of the challenges in life, trying to earn their high school diploma, trying to, maintain a job, which, as we know, there aren't too many jobs, especially now. It's a very uneasy time that we just want to be there to support them. We always preach social and emotional first. Your well-being is priority. Education is second, but we want to be there every step of the way for our kids.
Right. Right.
So what brought you to New Ventures? This is, this is it's something that many people would be, to jump into a charter school is not something many educators are willing to go do because of the marketplace and what's happened over the years. And hey, we had this big influx. We've lost some schools during the way. It's very different, maybe not secure in jobs. But if you've got the right, and in this case, you've got the right people leading the team, it could be successful. But what drew you to this?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I get asked that all the time. Why not go to the DOE? And there's job security and benefits. And I said, you know what? I look at the students that we have. I look at the program that we have at Integration Charter School. There's no better place to work in the entire world than ICS. And I say that not because, probably some of my supervisors are watching, but I say, but I say that in all honesty, we have the flexibility to create field works. Like Frank, you've been ever so generous, to open up your doors to our program, our 77 internship locations, our 8 fieldwork sites that we have on Staten Island. I don't know if I would have that flexibility, to alter the curriculum if I was in a set program like the DOE. And that's more rewarding to me to say not every student learns the same. Not every student is going to come in and say they're going to be able to learn from this textbook and this way, and that's the way I'm going to teach to 34 students. We have much smaller classrooms. We engage the students in PBL, problem and project-based learning, through our fieldwork and our internship model. And it has just been so rewarding to take students who aren't successful in that DOE model, come over to us, and we make that diploma a reality. I have to be honest, when I hand over that diploma, there's no more rewarding feeling in the world that I can get as a principal.
Yeah, and one size doesn't fit all, right? And so, and that's the beauty of the program. I mean, I even when looking at colleges, I had started. I tell the story. I started at St. John's, and then I left St. John's. I wasn't in school. I went to DeVry, and one of the things that I loved about DeVry was the fact small classes. And you were very focused on the task at hand, and which is what you guys do. Hey, and again, the same learning doesn't work for everybody. To your point, and and I see a lot of the kids that are very complimentary of the school and the program. And so Javante got a shout out before. So, but he says it changes his whole life path. And he's back on the right path to accomplishing his goals. Now, if he gets extra credit for saying that, I see this, and talking with students that I know that are in the programs, a lot of them say that, and I think that's super. And you talk a little bit about doing field work and being on site outside of a school environment. So here at Rabs Country Lanes, you guys are here several days a week, and one of our bowlers made a comment that he noticed that they're talking about the business of sports, and talk about how the field work. So going on site, and you also do it hospitality in the hotel, and you're doing it here, and it's focused.
So we have 8 locations, and I do want to give a shout out. Obviously, Frank, you've been more than generous to open the doors, allow us to have a curriculum that centers around sports statistics. We have other sites such as the Brielle Nursing Home, where we're learning about geriatric studies. And as you can see, that sports statistics has, math involvement. Geriatric study has that science involvement. We take the credits that our students need in order to graduate with their 44 high school credits, and we include that into our curriculum to make it real world education. And they're not going to learn from a textbook. They're going to learn in a host site, learning about real world application that will not only help them in high school, but will help them beyond their high school days. So the Brielle is another another site that we host. We have the Hilton Hotel, which is our hospitality management course. We have a special culinary arts program by one of our award-winning chefs that actually he works at the Above Catering Hall, and our students are working in the Above Catering Hall, preparing foods and meals while also learning about the foundations of culinary arts. That's amazing. And when our students go to fieldworks, they're so much more engaged. They come back to their evening classes when we are in the brick and mortar building, roughly around 3 o'clock. And then from 3 to 7, they're taking some of those courses that they need for their Regents prep. for their phys ed courses. We do still need to fulfill those 44 credits for the state in order to award them with a high school diploma. Just the way we do it is totally different. And on Fridays, we do have 77 partnerships that our students work at, gain real world experience, and build up their professional resume for credits that they're actually working on Fridays. And that's something that, other programs may not have in place. And when our students graduate, they not only have that high school diploma, but now they have that real world experience that sets them apart from the rest.
Right. So, I think people might look at this from the outside and go, "Oh, yeah, that's easy." They put them in these other positions, but it must take extra work on your staff's part to make sure that these areas that they're in outside the building match up with the curriculum so that they are getting a true education.
Yes, and as you can see, I'm smiling ear to ear because I can't, I can't do it. This is not the principal gets it done. This is not, the staff gets it done. This is a whole organization, and the staff at New Ventures are second to none. We have, staff teaching, 2, 3, 4 different curriculums, building curriculums for fieldwork sites, for internship locations. It's not that we have a strong teacher in algebra that can just get up and teach sports statistics. So there is a lot of training, that we provide, that the staff does on their own in order to make that teaching relevant. And not only that, but keep our students engaged so that they want to come back to school and they want to complete their high school diploma. Because if it is like a regular classroom of just preaching for 45, 50 minutes for 8 periods a day, our students are going to drop out and they're going to fall right back into that habit, so it is a little bit of a difficult task, but our staff is up for it. We have the best staff in the world, and I know they're watching right now, so I give them a huge shout out. And they have been amazing in implementing this virtual learning every day. And in not only that, but within a small time frame to kind of turn it around.
Yeah, it's a culture, right? So you've developed this new culture, and you certainly can see it. And then the community of a school doesn't happen without your students, doesn't happen without your staff, and then certainly doesn't happen without the passion of a leadership team to make that happen. And so really, again, that's kudos to you. And of course, those above you that give you the power to say, all right, go ahead, go make that happen. Because I'm sure you guys argue a lot about, hey, this is how I want to see it. At the same time, you might argue, but I've seen you guys in action, and you guys really do get along really well, which makes that work. And I mean, it's just like kumbaya. And so how does that happen? Like, that's the magic behind the curtain that nobody sees.
Yeah, we say, from day one with our teachers that it is with the students and the staff, it is relationships over rigor. It is grace over grades. We get to know our students before we provide them with, we're going to give you a B or a C and really start judging you. The relationships that we build not only start when they enter the door at New Ventures, but they don't end when they graduate. We still keep in touch with our students that graduate from years ago, and we're only open 5 years. And I think those relationships go a long way in trusting the students, trusting us as teachers and professionals, and us building that rapport with our kids. You can't put a value on that, because when I jump into a classroom, let's say they transfer over to New Ventures, I go into a classroom, they look at me like, oh my God, the principal's here. What happened? What did I do? What did I do wrong?
Who are they pulling out of the class?
Yeah, who are they pulling out of the class? And the kids that have been here for a couple months and a year, they go, that's Mr. Melis. Don't worry. He's not only on our back, but he's on our side as well. So we build that relationship and rapport with our kids that really is a unique situation in any school.
So how does a student end up in your school? Is it a referral from another school? Is it a parent that finds your school and decides to transfer their child there? How does that happen?
So I did, Nazareth. I just wanted to I know the students are saying, one of them, Cameron Bador, is one of my students, and she's actually one of my family members. We have adopted families that when our students come in, part of our culture is that we adopt them into our family, and every staff member has a family of 4 to 5 students. So what we do is we get to know the students. We adopt them into one of the families that they have a relationship and rapport with, and that is kind of their support system as well. We have family time, we have family competitions, we have family hangouts, lunch sessions, and that's something else that our students remember. So I know one of the students said, the principal's my dad, and that's a benefit.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit. So I know you had asked about how students wind up at New Venture. So it's a good question. It's not a program that you can apply to after 8th grade. It's a transfer school. And what we used to call it is an alternative program years ago. Our students, like I said, the school like Wagner of, maybe 3,000-4,000 kids in Tottenville might not be the right fit for them. A classroom of 34 students to 1 teacher, they might not be getting that one-to-one attention and that support that they need, which is okay. In larger schools, it's very difficult to do. What we have is a much smaller, supportive environment that our students come over. We kind of keep the blinders on a little bit. We provide them with that smaller class setting. We provide them with a little more, the light at the end of the tunnel is a little closer. We can offer some more credits because of the differentiated schedule that we provide. So when the students start to fall behind or start to notice that, you know what, this other program really isn't for me, they can now transfer into a transfer school or an alternative program like New Ventures.
Yeah.
So there's actually 56 in New York City, which is a lot. You don't hear about a lot of transfer programs. Our graduation rate ranks number 2 out of 56 transfer high schools.
Wow.
Our attendance rate ranks number 1, but we are hoping that our graduation rate this year, being that it's more than ever, will now be number 1 in the entire city of New York. So we're doing pretty well. And I have to give all of that to our staff and our students, which are complete rock stars. And I love every one of them.
Yeah, and that says a lot for the curriculum and the program that you provide.
Absolutely.
And it's different. It's not the same. It's not the same old that you're used to, and just dumping kids. And I hate to say this, but dumping kids into a program. I mean, that's not what we do here. This is it. To your point, a family, the culture. You add all that up, and you provide the right success for folks. Yeah. And I'm sure there are kids it doesn't always work for. It's finding the right fit at times. To help get someone forward. So in this environment's so different for you guys. But to your point, now, as you said it before, it really isn't different because you already started training in this fashion. So what is the culture like today? This true offsite learning, this Zoom world that we live in. How do you take what you're talking about and still put that in the household? Because that's so difficult. But if you have, again, culture-wise, it looks like you're doing that.
Yeah, it is a little more difficult because, look, we can have those phys ed classes and, everybody has their laptops and we're going through exercises. I mean, we had to get very creative. Let me be perfectly honest. We had to get very creative in what that curriculum looked like. We're not in a gym, or a theater and having that one-on-one student interaction and building the curriculum around that. What the field work looks like, we have such generous hosts such as yourself who, we want to keep in touch with and help create this curriculum because as you know, Frank, Rabs Country Lanes, it might look a little different than what it did, back in January and February. But the reality is we want our students to know that that's okay. Businesses are going to go through this, and what you need to know and how we need to adjust is just as important as when companies are performing at their peak. So our curriculums and what we're working on for next year is, what does that look like? Hospitality management. What does the hotel industry look like right now?
Right.
What is entertainment? A buddy of mine, Massimo Dodana at Partners in Sound, he's like, it looks so different. My marketing strategies, my outreach, I'm having virtual meetings with brides and grooms, and I'm having virtual meetings with students that are coming in wanting to be in new ventures. How can I sell the program when I can't really show,
Right.
look, this is what a field work is going to look like? So there are some challenges, but again, we want to incorporate our host involvement, our internship involvement, and make that as real as possible so that we're not just saying we're a project and problem-based learning program. We're actually showing it and proving it even through a virtual learning standpoint.
Yeah. So a program like this, I'm sure you require a decent amount of funding. How does that happen?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Mostly we are per pupil funded and some private funding. But what we do is our enrollment at New Ventures is constantly fluid because we don't have to wait until June for our students to graduate. So we are based on a trimester format which means every 12 weeks, students are completing their trimester, and as soon as they hit their 44 credits and their regents, they can graduate. Now, enrollment, like I said, funding is based on enrollment. So that really determines on what I may need as teachers, as teacher assistants, as counselors. That's one I never want to forget, but we have a huge counseling staff that is phenomenal with our students' social emotional needs. And I have to kind of go through that budget a little bit. And I do have an amazing second in command, which is Amelia DePompo, who I just wanted to shout out, who's been phenomenal in scheduling, going through budgets, and she is
the real boss.
She's the real boss. Yeah. She's the right hand, left foot, and right foot.
We all have them, I understand.
Yeah. But I hope it answered, kind of your question. Based on the enrollment, that kind of feeds like the funding in the school.
And so obviously you do fundraising?
Yeah, we do some fundraising as ICS as a whole. We have a whole fundraising department with integration charter schools. Within ICS, there's a few different programs. New Ventures is only one of our schools, which is a transfer school model. Like I said before, we have Lavelle Prep Charter School, which actually hosts grades 3 through 12. We actually have the Nicotra Early College program, which just started up a couple of years back, which students enroll into the Nicotra Early College program. They can graduate with an associate's degree by the end of 10th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing that this is really, I believe, changing the face of education to be able to reach so many students that would just, get left by the wayside. So I think it's great.
Yes, exactly.
So the stingrays. All right, talk a little bit about the stingrays. Where did that come from? I mean, we're in New York City.
Yeah, probably not too many stingrays, right? This Northeast. What we had was, we opened up 5 years ago, and we didn't have a mascot, and we didn't have a logo. And as you can see, I mean, I'm wearing one of our stingray logos here, one of our apparel. We opened it up to the students, and we said, what should our mascot be? And we wanted to have some meaning around it. So our students kind of came up with, well, should it be the stingray sharks? Should it be the stingray? They came up with all these different animals. And what one of our graduates came up with was that the stingray has a lot of meaning, that it can not only, survive and persevere in the deepest waters, but what it can do is in the roughest waters and under any circumstance can kind of go with the flow. And when she described it to leadership, I said, you know what, this kind of makes sense. So we came up with it. I actually had a designer to create the stingray logo, and we have just been off with it ever since.
That's great.
Yeah. There has to be a message. I mean, that's why I asked. You look at it, we're in New York City. I think the only time I've seen a stingray here is in a zoo.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? If we were in Florida, it would kind of make sense a little bit. But being in New York, you don't see too many stingrays. And that was another thing. We didn't want to be, there's so many animals that are already taken, with the falcons and the Seahawks and the pirates, and so we didn't want to double up either.
Oh no, and it's creative. It's different. To your point, it's got a great message. So it fits perfect. I mean, and even if it didn't, if nobody liked it, who cares?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hey, outside of this COVID world, forget about what we're going through today. I'm sure you guys have had plans to continue to grow and do things very differently. And as you continue to move, what was that? What were your plans for the next generation of the school as you were progressing outside of this world? Which I'm assuming that many of those you'll still go through, but maybe they've been changed a little bit. What's next?
Right.
For when we're back, you mean in brick and mortar?
Organization as a whole. What's next outside of this world? What were you planning on strategically? What the end? What were you working on?
Yeah, so we have, we have plans for expansion. So let me just give you a little bit of a backstory. New ventures, in order for students to transfer in, we have a requirement that students have to come in with at least 16 high school credits and have to have passed at least one Regents examination and have to be at least 16 years old. So you could see that's kind of limiting us to what happens to students once they walk into some of these bigger high schools and they're just sitting outside of the counselor's office. What happens to a lot of these students? Do they have to wait until they're 16 years old to get into new ventures? Do they have to hope that they pass classes that they may not be going to, or pass the Regents that they're not prepared for? So we were actually working on expanding our program to fit a need that was maybe students a little younger, maybe students that didn't have as many credits, because again, at the end of the day, it's to help all students in this situation. And we really don't want to limit that to just 16 years old, 16 credits in one region. We want to be the school that provides that smaller setting, family environment, staff that will go to the end of the world for you. Sometimes we're up 11, 12 o'clock at night, talking, texting each other, and just being there to support our students however they need. So that was kind of in the works outside of this COVID world. Not to say it's not in the works for the future, but as you know, expansions have kind of taken a little bit of a backseat. But we're definitely going to bring it up once this is all over. And I know not only we're going to be stronger than ever and continue to be strong, but Frank, Nazareth, I know you guys are going to be stronger than ever as well. And we want to be there to support you also. So whatever you guys need, I mean, my number. I want to be there to support you. Our students, once we go back to the trips and the fieldworks, we can't wait to have a school trip to Rabs Country Lanes, and start to hit the lanes again.
Well, we're looking forward to that night, and we appreciate
absolutely.
that. And you talk about PE, and so sports is a big part of a school's culture. And I know you and I have talked a little bit about this, but what does that look like? Could competition sports be something that truly works in your environment? And I know there are challenges with that, but I would imagine that's something you guys talk about on a regular basis too.
Yeah. The PE program, something a little different. And we start, I'm not sure if we brought this up, but we start much later than a typical high school. We start roughly around, when we're back in our fieldworks and our internships, we start roughly around 12 noon. And our students aren't dismissed until about 7:08 p.m. This allows some of our older students, they have to take care of, siblings and family members and work late at night. So waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning just sometimes is a little unrealistic in the world that we live in today, for a lot of our students. So they thrive in, those 12 p.m. classes.
Wait. Forget about the students, for all of us.
So, well, that's a little bit of my hidden agenda. So I wanted to open a school that, I could sleep until 11 o'clock. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's kind of like their schedule, and it just helps them out so much that they don't have to get up for that 5:30, 6 o'clock. They can get up much later, get to the teleport or to even Rabs where their first field work may be, earn their credits. We transport them back for their for their evening classes. And that is, I have to say, the best part of my day is when the students walk into the building. I have my special handshakes with them. We joke around. We're filming. We're taking these TikTok videos and going crazy. And I just, that is the best part of my day, walking into their classes, seeing their smiles and seeing them succeed.
So Naz and I call it the TikTok, and now you're calling it TikTok. I like it.
Well, yeah, whatever it is. I have a challenge. So anybody on this, go to our Instagram at New Ventures Charter School. I put up my own the TikTok video, and if you want to see it, and I know Devante on here, you have the talent. So if you want to challenge me, I'm all up for it.
You got a couple of challenges here. So apparently, there's a bowling match here for a diploma. I mean,
that's definitely something we'll talk about.
Yeah. I mean, we could make that happen. We could put it live on the air at some point.
Yes, absolutely. I'll send that in to you, Frank.
I gotta go check out this TikTok.
Oh my, yeah. Don't laugh too much, Frank.
It's all good. I was gonna say, I noticed. You talk about kind of you enjoy what you do, and not necessarily feeling stressed. And I mean, I'm sure you do. We all run businesses. We're all busy. You're looking. I know. I can't say much about myself, but you look a little thin.
Yeah, I you know what? I guess I'm on like that Skittles and Doritos diet, just like picking at my desk, I don't know if it works, but we should. I shouldn't say that with the students. Health first.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a lot of running around. It is stressful, but Frank, I wake up, I'm so lucky to have a job, and not only have a job, but I love what I do. And I really do. I wouldn't trade this position. I wouldn't trade this job for the world. These students bring so much joy and so much sunshine to what is an epidemic and this pandemic that we're all going through, these unprecedented times. Seeing them, I wake up every day. That's like my first go-to. My second go-to, I'm sorry. My son is my first go-to. My wife would kill me if I didn't mention that.
So where is this passion rooted? Did you grow up in a house with educators, or I mean, you can feel it. So I'm interested where that comes from.
Yeah, so funny story. I graduated college at Monmouth University, and I graduated with a business undergrad in business management. And I took a minor in marketing, and I said, I can't wait to graduate because I never have to go into another
school
for as long as I live. And look at what I'm doing right now. So what happened was I worked for Wells Fargo, and they wound up merging with Wachovia Bank. And once they merged with Wachovia, it was a LIFO, which is last in, first out business model. I was cold calling at that point. So I said, I'm willing to go. Is that the door? I'll leave. Thank you. So I said, I'll be out. I started substitute teaching. And the first day in class, the substitute left me a packet. I remember, and I looked at the packet and I said, these kids are not going to be learning this. They're not going to be interested in all. I started with a conversation that I had with them to introduce myself, and I had a real world talk to them like they're humans conversation. From that point on, I was hooked. I said, I have these students and we're getting along so well. They're going to be listening, to everything that I'm saying, that I'm teaching about the real world. And from that moment on, even the principal at the school I was at was like, what did you do? These students love you. They usually hate substitutes and they usually throw things at them. I said, no, I didn't get anything thrown at me yet. But I said, what I did was, I kind of taught them real world. And again, which kind of prompted me when Lavelle Prep opened up, I wound up going to Lavelle Prep to kind of alter that curriculum, that I wanted to alter so badly. Once New Ventures opened up a few years later, I said, this is perfect. I can now alter that curriculum to real world education, all while, providing that service to which is so needed to students for a transfer high school. This is like the perfect world. If I get to get up, go to work, and do what I love for a living, there's no better feeling. So I really do. I wake up and I do what I absolutely love.
That's great.
Yeah, do you, as much as you wouldn't give up the role, do you miss being in the classroom? I mean,
so I do. And I'm glad that Miss Amelia DePompo is on this call, because she does all of our scheduling and she's my right hand. And I beg her every scheduling period, Amelia, please put me in the schedule. I want to teach. She goes, Ryan, you can't. Your schedule is too busy. You cannot teach. So this is my public shout out. Amelia, please put me in the schedule for the next term.
Well, and knowing a lot of people in that work, and I can see that even APs, the assistant principals in some of certain schools,
right.
In the beginning, you wind up still having one class that you get to hold on to, but
right.
They still miss that opportunity to be in the class, because it's just a different environment, right? The opportunity to say whatever you want to say and teach, versus just being the guy that shows up for a minute or two and just says whatever that, yeah, thanks. No, that's you're still teaching in your own way, which is, and I'm sure because that's your background, that's what you want to do. You're going to do it anyway in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, the best part of my day, and my assistant Valerie, is on here also, is that I tell her the best part of my day is when I go into the classrooms. I love it. I love teaching. I come from that like business, mathematics background. So Sophie, one of our teachers are on here as well. I love teaching them about, we have a stock market challenge. We talk to them about stocks and bonds and commodities and the real world of investments. I mean, that's the math that we want to teach them, right? What is balancing a checkbook look like? Instead of, what's the volume of this room? X squared plus y cubed. And yes, you're going to need to know that. Absolutely. But we're also going to incorporate that into the real world and what that looked like in real world mathematics. So I love teaching. I have a passion for teaching. That would be like my ultimate favorite job in the world. But now I get to do a little bit of both, administration. And once Amelia listens to me, she'll put me in the classroom as well.
And for the teachers that are watching, do you guys really like him visiting your classroom? Because I could see that being a challenge at the same time.
I hope they do. And what I hear, one of the first questions, Frank, that I ask is, oh, okay, you come from other big high schools. How many times have you seen your principal? And they go, once, maybe orientation. And I say, okay, let me tell you this. You're going to see me almost every day. Okay. I'm going to pop in. I'm going to see how you're doing. I'm going to call home. I'm going to see how you and your family are holding up. I want to be there to support not only you, but your entire family. And not only during this, pandemic, but even when times are good, we're going to be there to support you every step of the way.
It started off the answers to the question. They love it. And then we got an but no, they enjoy you coming into it. They enjoy you coming into the classroom, which that's volumes too. Yeah. And I will say the principals that I know, they all have everybody's got their own way of operating, right? And so, but the most successful are the ones that are, kissing babies, shaking hands on, and being part of that. So, and
it's harder, with a larger school. It is a lot harder. I can only imagine if I had a school, of 4,000 students. The reason we keep it small is on purpose, because we can provide that one-on-one instruction, to those students. I can go into the classes. I can know the students by first name, middle name, last name. I can know their parents, their guardians, their grandparents. I mean, this is what makes our program so special. And again, we keep it small. That's on purpose. But seats do open up. I do want to say we have more graduates now than ever. With about 160 students in our entire program, we have over 70 students that are going to be graduating this year alone.
Wow.
Which is about half our school. So thank you. And Frank, that's rewarding to you as well for providing us with not only that space, but you provided us with so many good points and tips on this sports statistics and education that you've been sending us. So it's definitely a kudos to you and our partnership that we've helped build within the last year.
Yeah, well, listen, I love it. I think it's great when I come
pass
in
by and we see
I pass by. You know, there are days that there's 4 of them in there, and then there's a full class, and I think, but it's great because I really like the challenge. I like the different learning environment.
Yeah,
that to me helps. To me, that's where the business people wind up coming from. With all due respect to any learning, it's true hands-on learning. To your point, you have to learn tools. You have to be given the tools to be successful, and you're doing that in a different environment. And I think that we can certainly build the future leaders of our community through that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking other education, but I think that there's a lot to be said for what does happen. And I mean, just giving hope. Give hope to someone that maybe didn't, and some of the kids had said that if it wasn't for
so many of them said
new ventures,
that was amazing.
I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing.
Right.
So, and that's awesome.
What you just said is the sole reason, why I keep coming back and waking up with a smile and hope to be doing this for another 35, 40 years, hopefully, because this gives me the most satisfaction that I've ever felt in my entire life, from business, from substitute teaching, from going, in and out of, part-time jobs. I really found my niche, and I couldn't be happier with the staff, with the students, and what I do on an everyday basis. So, Frank, I would be wrong if I didn't give a shout out to our friend Orly.
Yeah, absolutely.
For, providing us with the partnership. Yeah, Orly. So.
I'm surprised she didn't send me a message yet while we're sitting here, but I know she's watching because she was commenting. And Orly Weissman. I mean, she's the one that made the connection, and she's awesome. We've been working together for quite some time with her and Ed, and they do awesome work. Yep. And you're very lucky that you have someone like Orly. You're a little Jiminy Cricket, so to speak.
We are very, very lucky that Orly is part of our staff. She has brought so much knowledge in her professional experience. And that's, that's another example. As, our teachers, she's highly qualified, to teach cinematography, as we know, with her multiple Emmys. And, we can put highly qualified staff in our classrooms and not have a doctorate in teaching, that some of the schools may look for. So for me, when I look for who the right staff members are, it's not only those qualifications, but even more importantly, are you the right fit for our students? Will you connect with our students? I could have a doctorate, chemistry professor from NYU or Harvard that comes in, and the students are like, I can't stand this person. I don't even want to listen to them, and they won't connect with him. Or I can get somebody, with not as a prestigious doctorate or degree or certification, but really is that better communicator, socially, emotional fit to our students, who I would much rather hire than the aforementioned person.
But that's and so one of the themes of our show, sorry, Nez, is okay. we keep it real here, and I will tell you, one of the things that always attracted me to Orly and Ed is the fact that you keep it real. It is you what you see is what you get. And I mean, that's who, to me, if I'm going to align myself with my friends and people, that's what you want. Because if you can't help me be a better person, then I don't. What do I need you around for? And it's true. And they really are. We've worked together for quite some time, and it's contagious. But to your point, there, somebody that's in the field doing the work has that experience and can share from that experience. I mean, we're talking in this case, cinematography. Reading Rainbow was there. They won Emmys for Reading Rainbow. Yep. I mean, your students don't know anything about Reading Rainbow. I'm sure. They go on YouTube and check it out, and they're going to think it's the corniest TV show ever. But I mean, that was a part of my childhood, and it meant so much. And you talk about the technology in film then to where we are today, light years ahead, and they're still at it doing it. So. We love you.
You're absolutely right. Orly and Ed, we love you, definitely. So, and just seeing these comments, like best principal, best school. This is, I'm in awe. There are no words to describe how grateful I am for all of our students and our staff. I love you all.
this is all being recorded, so you can go back and then give the extra credit and make sure you're going to pay those bills. We know.
So if you could wave a magic wand over the current public school system and make it a better place for students, and I know that is a tremendous changes would have to be made. But where do you think the things could start?
Ooh, yeah, that's a very loaded question, and it's difficult, difficult to answer in probably the time frame that we have now. But I have a lot of friends and family, great teachers, as part of the public school and DOE system. And one thing that I can say is it is very overwhelming with a large school of thousands of students, large classes of 34, students, phys ed classes of 200 plus kids. With one teacher in a classroom, it's so limited on what teachers may be able to do. So we actually max out our classes at 18 students with a teacher and a teacher assistant in every one of our classrooms. So as you can see, that student to teacher ratio is much smaller than anywhere in Staten Island, in the city, and in New York.
Yeah.
I would try, like I said, I would try to start with there if I did have that magic wand. The problem is, where do you put them? Because there are so many students.
Right.
So I see the struggle, and honestly, as the students say, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
The struggle is real. But this is, again, another reason why I am so happy. I wouldn't have, if I was the principal of a bigger school, I may not have that flexibility to say, you know what, I'm going to cap enrollment right there. And, if they live in the area, they have to attend that program. So it's a good question, but I would probably try to start there, even though it may seem impossible.
Yeah.
Baby steps, one step at a time, and one amazing person at a time. I mean,
exactly.
You've got this passion and you're sharing it, and if the more that we can exhibit that, the better people we can create through these programs. So rock star. Hashtag.
He definitely is.
Melis is a rock star.
Guys, thank you so much. And it's not me. Please, the rock stars are the ones making the comments right now. So those are the rock stars. I guess I'm the conductor of the rock star.
It always stems from the top, and it works its way down. But you're also, at the same to that point, you get built up by that. That helps create that. And that makes you, to your point that you said, makes me want to come and do it every single day. And it's so easy for people. Oh, I hate my job. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And go find a new job. But that's obviously something that's seriously, I could see this is, you're made for this.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love what I do, and I just can't wait for, what today and what tomorrow brings. We can't wait to get back into the building. We know it's a challenge. But again, when the students come into the building, into Fieldworks and everything, just seeing them, it makes not only my day, but it makes our whole staff. And that's the rewarding feeling, seeing their smiles entering, knowing that they're a day closer to that graduation, knowing that they have not only a support team, but we're their second family. So that makes it very special.
It's great.
Oh, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you dropping in.
Thank you.
Right. I don't know about Frankie, but he absolutely made my week.
Aww.
He definitely made my week.
Thank you, Nazareth. Thank you so much.
Do you want him to? We could swap. You can have Ryan here. By all means. You want to? This job doesn't pay, so
yeah.
You're certainly welcome to make Naz's day every day.
Nazareth, I promise. When we open back up, I'm coming in. We're gonna go out to eat. Lunches on me, okay?
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Frank, really, Nazareth, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And keep on keeping on. Keep up the great work and new ventures. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Love you all. And I'll see you guys soon.
Bet you will. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Breath of fresh air.
That was one of the best.
And you could tell that I said it, you could just see the excitement level, and just to the comments. And I mean, they're being funny too,
right.
but they
But
do.
you can tell that there's right, correct.
And so lots of hearts for Principal Melis. And really, hey, it shines another light on the education system and where we are today, what's happening, and in their environment, which is different to begin with.
Yeah,
how we could adapt to this,
and
whatever.
I have friends who are teachers, and I worry about them all the time. It's a stressful job. Some of them have been doing it for a long time and have so much more to give, but they have nothing left. And
genuine.
I
that's
hate
the word
to
I was
see.
looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just hate to see good people being burned out just because the whole system is just untenable for them. And listen,
I started as an education major. I wanted to go pursue that field. But at the same time, the cards weren't dealt that way.
No.
But that's what if I wasn't going to be doing this. That's what. But it takes special people to want to even do that, and then actually go and do it. So a couple of other teacher friends of ours were in here too.
Right. Yeah, I had a couple on mine also.
Can't downplay what they do. I mean, they're also the everyday heroes.
Yeah.
And working in this environment, yes, they're working, but it's challenging for sure too.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And I really do love the kids all sharing the facts that if it wasn't for New Ventures, they wouldn't graduate. They wouldn't have found the right home. They
love school now because of New Ventures, or they never even wanted to go to school.
I mean, if high school looked like that for me, I'd be excited too.
Yeah, imagine.
So thank you. Thanks, Principal Melis, for joining us today.
That was awesome. That was great.
That was awesome.
That was
Don't
awesome. End the show yet, because I said that. I know usually.
I know, but I wasn't in the show yet. I mean, that usually is the end of the show. So that was awesome. Hey, I want to share our meme of the day.
Oh, yes.
I got our meme of the day.
Rule number 1: never set it to 2020. Yes, ever. Don't ever do that. There are many memes out about this year, so they will live on.
Good old Marty. Good old Marty. Never set it to 2020. And back in hindsight, if you only.
And I wanted to jump in there because Alice is on my feed, Alice A. Campora.
Oh, Alice.
And
Hi, Alice.
she knows Ryan, and she was so happy to see him. And she's another teacher that's out there. And what has come out of this pandemic, and I've mentioned this several times already, is a newfound respect for teachers.
Oh, yeah.
There are some very funny videos on the TikTok about people.
The TikTok.
Yes.
Not TikTok.
No, it's not
TikTok.
TikTok is his thing. I don't want to take it from him. I call it the TikTok.
Wait till you see his TikTok.
I'm going to check it out. There are some funny videos about people apologizing to their kids' teachers, like going back all the years. And, but they are in there every day and not just, I mean, if you're home, you're dealing with your own 2 kids. Yeah. They're dealing with 30 kids plus,
of course,
some of them. And, who comes from emotionally charged backgrounds. And it's just, listen, I've always loved teachers and given them credit, but I think parents are they're finally learning.
Parent-teacher conference in the next couple of years is going to look
be
so
very
different
interesting
than it did before.
There may be a lot of gifts flowing.
and we always do support our teachers.
Yes.
And I know parents do appreciate it.
We do.
You're right. My sister-in-law certainly has a new appreciation for for teachers. What I feel bad is, like, my niece and nephew, they're 7, going to be 7 and 5.
Right.
And, she's going to be going into kindergarten, and they're missing school. They're missing the fact that they can't social.
It's the whole socialization thing.
Aspect. And so, and I say this, the governor talks about, hey, this is something we can do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's room for off-site learning.
Right.
And I think there's room for this, or even some sort of mix like what we see at New Ventures. But the social interaction is so important.
So important.
Even Dave Kaczynski and his kids, they're like, I need my kids to interact with other kids. So
Yeah.
you know what? It's come to a point where the kids are getting together
Right.
in some way, shape, or form. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not the same. I mean, Thomas has his neighbor, and they're always
Right.
together. I mean,
Yeah.
you need other kids.
Yeah,
in the
you know,
mix
when
and social interaction.
And I do feel bad because, you know, I know though a couple days, like yesterday, I was just not in a good mood. I was not feeling well, and I did see my grandchildren on Saturday. And
You didn't change your mood though. You still feeling overstimulated?
Yeah, no, I didn't change it today. And I really, you know what? I really thought about it yesterday after I left the show, and I was like, you know what? I felt bad for my grandkids. You know, they were home and they're doing their thing, but it's not the same. You know, they miss their friends. They're missing Alexis would have graduated from middle school this year, so she missed out on graduation, which is what it is. You know, you move on. But just the socialness of how programmed we are to be people.
Sure.
And so it is. It's a little sad. It's a little sad. Anyway, so let's just hope that this moves on and we find some safety in kids being able to be together, because my daughter is
Kids need to be kids.
yeah, but you know, and everything was going along fine until kids started getting sick.
Oh, of course.
Then kids started getting sick, and so we have to ratchet the, I don't want to call it paranoia, because listen, you don't want to be the one that puts your kid in a position and now your kid gets sick.
Correct. However, I think kids are more healthy today than they ever have been, because when they go to school, they're constantly getting sick because people send their sick kids to school. I mean, that's a real thing. My niece and nephew haven't been sick in quite some time, not being home. And I mean, they were getting sick constantly. And listen,
People send
were,
their sick kids to school.
They send them, and I understand to an extent, like I get it. I don't get it, but I do get it. You're working, you're busy, but they're sending sick kids to school, and that creates another environment,
right,
which is a whole nother issue.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not.
You know, when I said
wouldn't
kids,
advocate.
when I was talking about kids getting sick, I was talking about kids
Oh
with
no,
this
yeah, of course.
coronavirus
Yeah,
connection. So
of course.
it's scary. It's not just the kid's got a cold; it's
No.
the kid might die. So yeah, listen, it's a scary world we live in, and we're all trying to navigate it the best we can. And thank God for people like Mr. Melis bringing. Listen, how could you not? You know, I fully can understand him being super excited, waking up every day, knowing that he's changing those lives. You know, the opportunities he's giving to kids who, Lord knows what they would be doing.
Now, think about but relate it back to the work that we do here. I mean, there's a community here. There are things that we do, and I think in a different aspect, you know, you touch people's lives, and we provide this facility for people to get away from everyday life.
Yeah.
It's similar in nature,
Right.
But don't get me wrong, that helps drive us to do what we do.
Yes.
I mean, at the same time, it would be easy to say, no, thank you, but really think about what we get up every day, and we've talked about it. We get to see the same people every day, every week. And I mean, this is their escape. And so to really be a part of that, with that community within, there's,
Yep.
And they come and tune in and watch us every day and listen to us
It's nice to
answer,
see that.
have our special guests. Hey, we have, you know, John, come over here for a moment, because John Wilders is in the house. John, I want you to show off, because you look fantastic.
John looks great.
Come and say hello to our audience.
He may have left a person in.
I left a kid at home.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's unbelievable. And that guy was absolutely incredible.
Wasn't he great? Wasn't he great?
The one thing that I got out of his talk was he is actually trying to bring back old style education, teaching kids how to live in a regular, real world.
Right.
It's not necessarily about the books. Sometimes you have to learn how to balance a checkbook.
Right.
They don't teach that stuff in school anymore.
Right.
When I went to school many years ago, before you were even a
we
child,
had home economics.
Home economics.
We had sewing. We had.
You had all of the typing. You had all of that stuff that you had to learn, and you take it into the world with you.
Yeah.
Now you have books. Well, I don't have to worry about balancing a checkbook because I could do it online now.
Yeah.
But what happens when online is down?
Right. things
you
are
have
very
all this
different.
electronic scoring. What happens if the computer
goes
goes
out.
down? And there isn't a soul in this place except for maybe Nazray and I, and maybe
I could
Liz.
keep
You
score.
can do it. But I said
Not
to
well.
I said to somebody in a bowling alley down in Florida, I said, "Where's the sheets? What sheets? The sheets of paper in case the computers go down." We don't have any sheets of paper to keep score. I says, "What happens if the computer goes down?" He says, "Well, then I guess we're out of luck, aren't we?"
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
crazy. It's
But
crazy.
you don't have that ability.
They can't even sign their name in cursive. I mean,
Right,
that's true
right.
too. And Amelia makes a great point here. She's talking about her students. It's the ones who grasp the concept of community connectiveness that keep the students thriving.
Yeah.
Which is so true. And
Yeah.
again, you see that with those kids.
Absolutely. But see,
Yeah.
even as you had mentioned, with the kids, like Alexa's going to graduate from middle school. Or no, middle school.
Yeah.
So is LJ. It's the
Right,
8th
they're the
grade.
same age.
He's going to Tottenville now.
Can you imagine? I can't
And
even-
but
No.
he's missing out on the social.
Right.
I mean, it's an 8th grade graduation. For most people, it's not a big deal, but for
Right.
grandparents and parents, it's a huge deal.
For grandparents, yeah.
They have done something that
Yeah.
they have to be proud of, and it's going into the next level.
Yeah.
Ariana is going in. She's going to be a junior in high school. Please, it scares me, but the only one that doesn't scare me is Sarah.
No, she's gonna be fine.
Sarah's
Jeez.
going to be Sarah. No matter where Sarah goes, Sarah's going to be running the
Sarah
show.
Madness.
Well, I was going to say, we knew that when she was born.
Sarah will run the show, and that's just the way she is. She said, "Oh ma, I got 142 views on my TikTok yesterday."
Ticky-tock.
A TikTok, as Ryan would say. But the thing is, the kids nowadays are losing out on all of those social things
Yeah.
because of this.
Yeah. It's
And
making it like
even
it is.
LJ, he wanted to go to his prom. I said, "Prom?"
Right.
He says, "Yeah, well, we were going to have a dance in the school, and I wanted to go." I says, "But LJ," he says, "No, we all go together. All the kids
Yeah,
go together."
yeah.
They don't have that ability anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now he's going to go to Tottenville High School, and he's being thrown to the wolves.
He's gonna
He's gonna do
survive. And
great.
he's gonna
Yeah.
do great.
He's going to do
And
great.
Kevin makes a point that they can't even nobody's had to count the marks. So even with the older computer system, the marks used to be counted on the screen.
Yeah.
Even today, we teach. We could teach them, but most bowlers have no clue how many marks. Oh, and they're just counting. Like, oh,
Right,
you're not taking anything into
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah.
So they have no clue as to how to keep score with a pencil and a piece of paper. And I'd
Yeah,
say
it's
95% of the people don't know how to do that anymore.
And partially that may be our fault too, because then we don't even take the initiative to teach them.
Right.
I will tell you, so the class that comes here, part of their learning, they were learning about sports and bowling, and so they would talk about keeping score.
Right.
We do provide the in-school bowling program to elementary schools to teach bowling in the PE class, and part of that curriculum, it's got STEM
It's
pieces,
all right.
including keeping score in the math
Right.
class. And I will tell you, they do it, which is cool. Even in the gym
Yeah.
class, the one class I visited down the block, which when they were open, they were in session in the gym class. They're all sitting on the floor with the score pads, and they're keeping score, but they're learning because they're doing the
It's
activity.
right.
So
right, right.
those are things that we just take for granted because we have this.
Yeah.
Right.
But we certainly doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
Yeah,
be
but you
teaching
know
them.
what? So many of the things that have pushed things forward were things to save time or things to make things easier. So
But we have
you
less
didn't
time.
learn right.
Because
So
we've
all we
crammed
did
so
was
much.
replace that with something
else.
Keep
And
cramming.
as you were saying,
It's true.
you're not taking the time. And you had that little spiel for you where you would sit back and take the time and slow down, because you were so ingrained in doing 25 hours of work in 24 hours and taking no time for yourself.
We
Yeah.
we need 8
Yeah.
days in a week to get it all
Well,
done.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I sat down over the last 2 years. I said, well, that's the end of that. I'm going to take my time now.
So you got some comments.
fun.
Rowala says you look fantastic. Kevin,
Thanks, Ro. Oh, she's wonderful.
Kevin
Kevin
says
will.
you look marvelous.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey,
Marvelous.
listen, he was my bartender.
Yeah. He's part of the reason why you blew up.
Part of it.
Hey, so John, it's our 25th anniversary here,
I know.
and you've been a part of this. I will tell you what my sister-in-law wanted me to do when you came in today.
Oh no!
Just
please
saying,
don't.
she wanted me to go in the parking lot and leave a present out there for you, so that you felt like you were back at home.
Was it a broken tile?
It was. So anyway,
I love her, but she's a witch.
and she's gonna watch this. She usually watches after.
She really is a wonderful girl, but she every time I come into the bar, she'd say, "How many tiles did you crack today?" Or
What was that about?
Just him being
the size I was a 2-pound
She would
bologna and a
say
1
that
pound.
to you?
Every time she saw me,
he breaks. The problem is he brings it onto himself because he
Right.
breaks everybody's balls.
Yeah, but I didn't think Fran had that in her.
Oh, Fran's got it in there.
I have no problem with her saying stuff because I'll tell you right now, I would hate to be roasted in this place. I really would, because everybody would have something, except for Liz. She wouldn't have anything to
Well, so
you. Forget it. I wouldn't even talk about you.
Michelle's reminding you that you have to be at their house by 4:30. Don't worry, our bar, we have nothing in it, so it's not like they can even
he won't be
bring him
hanging
in
out
the
here.
bar to give him a drink and keep him around. So it's our 25th anniversary. We've been sharing old photos, as you know,
Yes.
you've been watching. So here's this one is 1997, 1998. This is the Rab Senior Men's Club. It bowls on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the time. They presented Mr. Rab a present. This has got to be 98. I think it looks like the wood lanes might still be there. This is right before the new lanes
And
went
the
in.
walls
Yeah,
were still
because
white.
of the
Yeah, so the frame, the
masking
scoring
units.
and the masking units, but check that out.
Yeah,
Sadly, a handful of those guys aren't with us
I know,
anymore.
but I actually remember the
Oh.
masking units.
Yeah, that's the other side of this.
that's the other side.
We still have them. They don't look as bright though. It's,
Yes.
it's amazing what color does. But that's our old photo of the day. This was
That's a
taken
good
by the
one.
guys, and then this was in the advance
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They presented a nice.
Well, they're always a
gift
good group of
appreciation.
people. I bowled with them.
If you were
Once I
here
hit
yesterday, you
55.
could have joined the tailgate party. They had
I
in the parking
understand.
lot.
I was here, but I had to go down to Jersey to see my brother, and I had to go out to the island to see my sister. So otherwise, if they would say you were up and you didn't see me,
So we've got tomorrow is Thursday. We're going to talk food with our good friend Pamela.
Food with
as
Pam.
always, Pamela
Pamela
Silvestri.
Silvestri.
Who's your guest on for Saturday with Joe Calandrella and Gru?
So and
And Crow.
Oh, Gru. I thought you said Gru. I'm like
And
Gru.
Gru is actually what's her name's dog's name? Janine Sweeney.
It was Shannon O'Keefe. So Shannon was going to be with us last week. She's supposed to be with us this week.
Okay.
And then Friday, Jim Episcopia and Dan Moffat are going to join us, give a little update on what's happening in the world of the Staten Island USBC, and they have some special announcements today.
Oh,
So Jim and Dan are coming on the show Friday. Tomorrow we're going to talk food.
exciting.
Saturday, Pro Bowler Saturday with Joe Cal. And then we'll have a whole new week.
Yeah,
But first, Friday comes. And what's Friday night?
Friday night.
Bingo!
is bingo night.
So
Staten Island North Shore Rotary.
Bingo. Virtual
Yes.
bingo.
plan on joining us for bingo. We have a good time. Virtual bingo. It's the fourth time we're playing it. Friday night, 7:00. I know I get text messages after bingo from Ray, and he always has a a good time.
Oh, yeah, he loves the bingo.
Especially this past week when
Yeah.
Naz came home with a prize.
I didn't tell him.
What happened? No,
Nothing.
he doesn't remember.
Nothing happened.
Come on.
So sinorthshorerotary.org/bingo. Come and join us for virtual bingo and have a good time with us.
We're going out to dinner now.
I gotta
We
say,
did.
it was an absolute pleasure being here.
No, it was an honor to have you in the
It's
studio
And
audience with us
honored to
today.
have you.
I gotta tell you,
Socially distant.
I love watching your show every day, and I do. I watch every single day.
We see you.
Even from the golf course.
I do that just for the
Just to
just
send
for the
in
ambiance. I
zinger.
want to make sure you realize I love doing the promos
Yes.
because, and I usually do them from either the pub in my house or the golf course.
Golf course, right?
And again, that's just to stick it to you. And I can't wait to start doing it for the Draft League Live.
Before you know it.
Before we know it, next season will be here. The
Bruno and Cal.
Draft League
Love those guys.
live.
That
Draft
is
League
one
from
great show.
Studio
I gotta tell you.
710.
Love them.
And I'm going to probably have to talk to who? Are you running the Draft League?
Yeah.
Well, in some form.
Yes, Naz.
No, the reason I'm being because that's one of the things I want to start doing down in my house down in Florida.
Okay.
And we don't have anything like that.
Okay. Well, it's a great.
And I
great
tell
format.
them,
We got the
said,
tools
this
for you
is,
to be successful.
this is,
Like
this
enterprise.
is, what'd you say?
Like enterprise.
We give you the tools.
Yeah. Okay. God bless.
We would love to.
No,
we would love
but
to see
certain
more,
things
more
like
of
that because
Yeah.
I said, why don't we have a scratch draft league here?
Well,
What?
scratch leagues
You know-
are difficult.
You know who I got that from? Look him up online. His name is Freddie Borden.
Yeah.
And he's the one that told me that he was running it in Chicago.
No,
20 years ago.
I got it.
Ohio.
I'm
It's just,
from
I'll talk
Ohio.
about it again.
Well,
20
this
years
is a
ago.
scratch draft league.
Yeah.
And people don't understand what do you mean? I
We'll
says you
send
can have it in
stuff.
thirds, or if you have enough bowlers, you could do it in quarters.
Yep.
An ABCD.
Hey, we invited you to come and say hello,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a promote.
not to elongate the process.
Yeah,
here,
we're
you
trying to
know.
get out
want
of
you to shut up so they can wrap up.
Oh, it's a wrap.
So, we would normally yell quiet on the set when we open up, but there's nobody here anymore, so we don't
Yeah.
like to yell at anybody. There's the
We have
you saw
heard
the hair
Jimmy
and makeup process.
Yeah, I heard Jimmy and I've had Jimmy and Michael doing their work right behind you. That was
Yes.
really always good
Yes.
to hear. That.
You know what's
Okay.
funny though? I have to when you took the noise, but when you go back and watch, it's not as bad
As
on
you
the
think
show
it is.
as we think it is.
No,
It's in our ear.
sense to us.
So the microphone does take away, but I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's
sometimes
still there.
it's too much. Well,
And
anyway,
the diffuser
hey,
isn't on today.
thanks for watching. We appreciate you taking
No,
the
it's not,
time
and
and
I need
continue to. What are you looking at?
The
Trying to-
diffuser is
the
not on.
diffuser.
Oh, it's not on. No. Wait.
You know why I took the oils home? I have to bring one of them back.
Hey,
But
like
thank-
and share, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Naz, we tell everybody wash your hands, don't touch your face.
Touch your fist.
Stay healthy.
Right.
We're gonna be opening soon. I mean, we're
Before you know it.
excited. At some point, we're gonna get the okay, and we're gonna be ready to rock and roll, and we'll be back to bowling before you know.
But
it.
remember one thing:
What's that?
keep it real.
That's
Keep it
right.
real.
We do. And Naz, you said it before, and
I
after-
did.
After
I said it
Principal
prematurely.
Melis came off, you said it, but you know what? You need to say it again.
That was awesome.
We'll see you tomorrow.